Hey there, guys. All right, today we are back with some more history matters, and this time we are asking the question of why do ex-British colonies use dollars instead of pounds? Now, a few months ago, I might have told you because USA number one, but currently, those countries that are the ex-British colonies using the dollars instead of pounds, as an American, I would advise you to switch to the pound. It might be a bit more stable in the coming months and years than the US dollar, so might be a good idea to abandon US I don't know. I don't really know how full faith and credit of the US government may not be all that faithful or creditable in the future, so I'm having so much fun in this country. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into this question here.
United Kingdom uses the pound sterling, and up until the 1940s, the pound was the dominant international currency. Yet, when you look at many former British colonies, you'll notice that they use dollars and not pounds. Now, obviously, we can't go over every former British colony, and so the two we'll discuss are Canada and Australia, because these
The ones that matter most, duh.
two nations maintained good relations with Britain up until their independence and both made conscious efforts to drop the pound. So why exactly do these former British colonies use dollars instead of pounds? Canada dropped the British pound in 1841 and replaced it with
Damn. I didn't think they dropped it that soon.
its own.
I would have guessed like maybe 1900s, maybe maybe after I would have guessed maybe latest after World War II, earliest like turn of the century maybe.
The Canadian pound was worth slightly less than the British one, and it wasn't long before it was dropped for the brand new Canadian dollar. The reason why Canada opted to do this was twofold, and the first was a simple case of proximity. Its nearest neighbour was a major economy, and Canada did a great deal of trade with them, which was only ever really going to increase.
Okay, that
and for
makes
them, it
sense,
was a
yeah.
simple case of neighbours having a similar currency. The second reason was that since it's
Though, like, if y'all ever buy things in America, like, right, there will be two costs on it, right? You'll have it in US dollars and then Canadian dollars. The Canadian dollar one is always a good bit pricier. Whew.
inception, the dollar had always been a decimal currency. What that means is that it's simple, since there's only 100 cents to the dollar. The British pound was not a decimal currency and worked like this. Each pound was made up of 20 shillings, which in turn was made up of 12 pennies, and a penny was comprised of 4 farthings. Thus,
All right, hold on. We have things all messed up here. So the British money system is fucking confusing, yet they use the decimal, Celsius temperature thing, right? But then America is like, we're going to use the dollar. We're going to have it be decimal based, but we're going to use Fahrenheit. Imperial. Now, of course, the United States uses imperial because of the British are stinky and they mess everything up. But still. What the fuck?
a single pound was made up of 960 farthings or 240 pennies, and the value of these subunits was very volatile. Now, it should be noted that despite Canada dropping the pound, it was still the world's primary international currency. After Britain became the first major nation to withdraw from the gold standard in 1931, it created what was called the sterling area. This was where all of Britain's colonies pegged their currency to the pound at a fixed exchange rate, and this was followed by the Ottawa system, also called the imperial preference system, which put tariffs on other nations that used a different currency in any trade that wasn't carried out in pounds. Canada wasn't a member of the sterling area because, obviously, but it did become a part of the imperial preference system. So what about Australia adopting the dollar? It didn't neighbour the United States, so what reason would it have for dropping the pound? Discussions about adopting a new currency didn't really begin until after the Second World War. Britain
Oh, so it was Australia that did do it after the Second World War. Okay.
was largely bankrupted by this, and so Australia's main trading partner was buying less. Someone who was buying more, though, was America, and given that membership of the sterling area made selling to them harder, a decision had to be made. As such, in the 1950s, Australian Prime Minister Sir Robert Menzies ordered a review into whether or not Australia should continue to use the pound. And the answer was no. The reason being that Britain's share of the global economy was shrinking, and so punishing the Australian economy by preferring them over the rest of the planet didn't make much sense. And one final reason was that of identity. Australia, along with other former British colonies, wished to distance themselves from the old imperial metropole. In 1966, Australia ditched the pound and adopted its own dollar with 100 cents. And so that's why ex-British colonies dropped the pound for the dollar. The lack of decimalisation made the pound more prone to fluctuations which affected ordinary people. There was also the acceptance that the United States was now the world's dominant economy and that using a dollar would make trade with them much smoother. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
And that was why ex-British colonies used the dollar instead of the pound. This was a great video, and I love the amount of context that was in it, but I don't really have anything else to say. Aside from what I already said, I was surprised how early Canada switched over. I figured Canada would have switched over around the same time as Australia, but I guess not. Oh, that's neat. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.